Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show. His Dark Materials is the show on telly that's an adaptation of Philip Pullman's classic kids' book trilogy. It's all about an alternate world where souls live beside people, like they're little kids, but the souls live as animals, and they're called demons. And last time, Lyra got gobbled up by the evil Gobblers, and she's now hiding in their facility under the name Lizzie. Episode 6 starts with straight up Lyra being in a pickle. I mean, she's in that facility, she's trying not to stick out, and she's making a point of not talking to Roger, even when she sees him, and he's smart enough to just play daft laddie as well. But soon enough, when there's a fire drill, she sneaks over to him and finds out what's going on. Then she throws a snowball, and it starts like a distracting snowball fight, so her and Roger make a break for it. But instead of finding the exit, they pass through a room that's got demons in cages, and then they end up in another room full of kids who have no demons at all, and it's really creepy. So they go back and Lyra tells Roger to help everyone get ready for an escape attempt as soon as the next fire drill happens. But that same day, Mrs. Coulter arrives for a spot check visit on the facility, and she comes to see Lyra's room. But Lyra's clever and hides under the bed with the help of the other girls. And still, that evening at dinner, she gets picked to go in the demon chopping machine. But luckily, she has the wit to start shouting about Mrs. Coulter, and Mrs. C recognises her voice, and they stop things just in time. Phew. And a cup of tea later, and Mrs. C is all sorts of sorry about what happened for about 2 minutes, and then she's back to where's all the lithometer and stuff. And Lyra gives her the solder and bug box from episode 3, and that distracts her when it flies around the broom, and she bolts out of the place, locking it behind her and sets off the fire alarm. And Roger's done the good job, and he gets all the kids starting to get the heck out of Dodge, but then the Tartars start coming in to capture them. But then the Egyptians arrive, and they've got Yorick, the big bear, and it turns into a big ass fight. And things are looking a wee bit bad, but then Seraphina the witch flies in and does a monster kill, a whole load of Tartars, and after that it's calm down time, and the Egyptians move out, but Lyra's sent off with Yorick and Lee on the airship. And things seem to be going okay, but then a whole bunch of flying beasties attack them during the night, and Lyra ends up falling through a hatch, and before Lee can grab her, she falls away into the snowy mists. Oh no, I hope she doesn't get dead. So what did I think? Well, in this episode we're kind of into serious business. We've got Lyra stuck in the strange facility, and that's like something out of a sci-fi dystopia or a horror movie, kind of THX 1138 or 1984, or even this wee film called Level 16 I saw a few weeks ago. Now, I really like how we got to see Lyra using her wits, not just to get out of the situation, which she does a few times in this episode, but also to organise and use what she's got around her, like putting trust in Roger to do legwork, or in the girls in the room, and people that know a little bit more about what's going on in the facility, because she's just in the door. And then she uses Mrs. Coulter's own overconfidence to trick her with the box, being daughterly and acting the wee scared kid, and it works. And this was a really solid scene as well, though, although I kind of thought that was whiskey in that cup. I mean, come on, we all did. And I liked how Lyra and Mrs. C both yelling at the door at the same time. There was another wee touch of her mum and daughter moment about how the same they are. Or how we got Mrs. C doing monkey stuff when she dropped out of the top of that hatch. But I've got to admit, this episode had me kind of unenthusiastic. I mean, partly because everything's so matter-of-fact, and even the moments which are supposed to be deep and impactful just kind of weren't. The sinister facility wasn't given enough time to sell the horror, and even the scientists just going about their daily work didn't manage to seem that creepy. I mean, mainly because they all seemed pretty normal, and they were even questioning what they were doing. I mean, I get that, and right, it all smacked a little bit too much for me of the "Are we the baddies" sketch from
Are we the baddies?
And also it brings up Nazis for another important reason. I mean, this bit and all this line.
It wasn't my fault. I was just obeying orders.
And that really hammered home how much the Holocaust imagery was being hammered in. I mean, you've got shaved head kids. I mean, which begs the question, why are these kids in particular, why they all got skin heads? I mean, Lyra's head wasn't shaved when she was put in the machine. The creepy semi-automaton, people who'd had their demons removed and were a bit older, they had long hair that seemed fine. I mean, they weren't shaved heads either. So it literally is just so you can have the shot and it looks a little bit kind of Auschwitz-y. And I think that it's a little icky. It's a little bit cheap. And also, totally mini gripe. This time when Lee took the shot, I mean, that could easily have killed the kids or Mac Costa. I mean, just saying, if that bullet had gone straight through the bad guy, then boom, double kill. He would have ended up hitting somebody on the other side. And that leads me on to Lee. He's still totally inept. I mean, granted, he managed that shot, but as I said, it was a daft shot to take. And at the end, he doesn't seem to realise there's flying monsters, but he's the airman. He's this supposedly really good airman. And yeah, it's shot, so he seems as baffled by what's going on as the audience is. And compare him to like Serafina. Now, Serafina seems to have come in from. She almost seems like a character from a computer game where she's got invincibility. I mean, it's kind of cool. She can do all these effects and stuff. And yeah, I think they did that in like, or similar stuff in the film as well. And they said that witches are really important to have on their side, but they also said that witches were on the Gobbler's side. So where were those witches? I mean, surely you would have one guard in your most important facility. I mean, it seems nuts if they don't, especially if like one single witch can do this total sort of Quicksilver from X-Men or like Legolas from Lord of the Rings stuff and take out a whole room full of bads in 10 seconds. I mean, it just makes her so completely overpowered. I mean, if you had 20 witches, you would need an army because just boom, everyone's dead already. And I think that they've been kind of hinting, and I could be wrong in this. I don't remember it specifically from the book, but Mrs. Coulter, she comes across as like she might be a witch or maybe part witch or something because she can go far away from her demon and she's been seen doing magicy stuff, but she's not showing that kind of power, and I can't quite work out in my head if that's what they're trying to do, but it seems like it could be. I mean, they're planting that sort of seed there, but then at the same time, she's crawling through like air ducts and just doing normal stuff. And at best, when she's fighting people, she does like a big slappy thing. We also had like this week, we had some Will stuff, but it felt like it was just treading water to keep him in the show so you don't forget, and because nothing really seemed to happen. And that's why I didn't even bother mentioning it in the recap. And then we had this PG-13 neck break. I mean, I know it's a kid's show, really, sort of, but you don't really want to show somebody actually getting their neck snapped. But honestly, it just seemed a bit weird. And I did wonder, whatever happened to the separated demons? Because it didn't look like the kids at the end actually had them. I mean, did they? I didn't see it. So, I mean, did they not go into the room and find these demons and go, oh, this is your one, pet it or something? I mean, presumably they would still want to hang on to each other. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you think an audience would want to hear about. And topping it all off, they've gone to the end of the earth to save a bunch of kids. But when they leave, they left Lyra with like crap Captain Hamilton and Drinky the Bear, and they've just buggered off home because something, something, something a prophecy. Does that seem realistic with these characters? It doesn't to me. It doesn't seem like the thing they would do. I mean, that's the kind of thing that works maybe in the book a wee bit just because you kind of gloss over it really quickly. But considering how much time they spent last week on a wee argument of whether or not she should go off and check out a ghost town, and this week they're just like, yeah, it's fine actually, but we're all going to literally just completely leave the area while you go in the opposite direction in the middle of the freezing cold with just like one guy and a bear. It seems a bit odd, and they weren't even using like the excuse of the lethometer. I mean, honestly, I'm just kind of disappointed by it. I mean, I think the show is actually making me like the books a little less than I did before. It's putting all the flaws in the story under a magnifying glass in the way that an adaptation really shouldn't. And I know there's only 2 episodes to go now, and I know I was a little bit late with this review, but I'm totally on it, and the next part hopefully should be up before the finale. So till next time, I've been Ian, and these have been my grumpy opinions.